Recently, the USD497's school board passed with a unanimous vote to install Dr. Jeanice Swift as the school district's new superintendent. Here's more from Dr. Swift on what that means for the school district and what her goals are.
Superintendent is the Board of Education's one employee. So that tenure has to do with that relationship between the superintendent and the Board of Education. The superintendent is like the CEO, the person who is working on the team with all the other teams. So whether that's about budget, critical mission of teaching and learning, or if it's about all the components in the organization that serve that critical mission, whether that's human resources, support systems, whatever that is, it's all those roads meet in the superintendent's work, just in channeling all of that to make sure that we're serving students well. I think that serving as superintendent is like being the lead learner in the organization. And I see all of us on one team really learning better how to serve students and serve our community. So I really just see that as being part of the team. I started early September, actually right on Labor Day. So it's been nice to have the fall to get to be out in the community and talk with folks and learn more about what's going on in Lawrence. What has happened is over the fall, we had the opportunity to be out in the community, to be at every one of our schools, to facilitate conversations, to listen to folks, students, parents, staff, and community members. So really, I don't think the goals have changed at all, but I do believe they've emerged much more clearly, because what we found is that across all of those groups and meetings, very similar patterns emerged around what the community wants for its public schools. And, Lawrence Public Schools has a long tradition of excellence, but across the country, it's been a very hard time for public schools these last 5 years. We just passed the 5-year anniversary from our COVID closures. So can you believe it? It's been that long. So really, this is a perfect time to say, what's our next chapter in the Lawrence Public Schools? And our community, our staff, our students, our parents have all spoken to that in remarkably similar ways with clear patterns. So I think our goals have just become very clear.
With many changes in national law, concerns have risen about student protections.
Well, it's an interesting time that we live in. There's a Chinese proverb that says, may you live in interesting times. And I think we certainly do, don't we? Had no idea that we would be seeing an executive order to literally close the Department of Education. Now, some functions of what we do are really overseen at the state level. So part of this response is about those functions will continue. And I guess the first thing I want to make sure to say, Connor, is no one really knows what this means yet. It's just happened, and so anything I say is theorizing about what we think it means. But the three areas that the federal Department of Education really supports schools with, there are three key areas. The first one is around the civil rights of students coming in our schools. The second area is ensuring that special education needs, specialized learning needs, are served and met. And then the third area is those college loans and support, federal grants and loans and support for attending college. So I guess there are real concerns that, although I know in Lawrence we're going to continue to protect the civil rights of our students and our staff, there are concerns that nationally, who's going to be the keeper of the gate, so to speak, in terms of civil rights, special education, and then thirdly, opportunities for young people like you and so many coming out of Lawrence Public Schools and across the country who could really benefit from those federal loans for college. In Lawrence Public Schools share this single value, and that is that we welcome and celebrate and embrace and lift up every student who comes through our doors. And we see differences and distinctions and uniqueness as a gift and a strength that makes our schools and our community stronger. So these things that we see out there that run counter, that say that maybe some folks don't get their rights or don't have the same rights as everyone else, we just completely and wholly reject that line of thinking, because our core value is to welcome and celebrate and see each student for the gifts that they bring to our classrooms. That's it, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Yeah, that's our theme, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So we don't ask students or staff to check who they are. When they enter our doors, they get to come and be fully who they are. We're really working with teams from our high schools because no one knows better what we should do next to make those programs stronger than you guys, our teachers, our leaders at the school, and most importantly, our students. So we are listening to what you all are saying. You know what? It'd be great if we added this course, or that course isn't so highly enrolled. Maybe we could do that a different way. We want to make sure that our resources and our support, particularly in an area where we don't have a junior college campus here in Lawrence, it's even more important that students are able to access college credits. It saves so much money for your parents, you know, for you all to be able to get those credits. And then even as importantly is the research shows us that if students have even one college level experience while they're in high school, they're much more likely to get accepted into a college, to persevere at a college, and to graduate. So we just really want to make sure that we're serving our students well. So the patterns that we heard that resonated really across all the groups were number one, about our critical mission of serving students. Twofold on that. One was about widening the programs and opportunities for students, as well as the support. And then right alongside that is this goal around ensuring a quality staff to serve our students. So meaning that we want to be competitive in our compensation for staff all across the organization, to be able to have a positive and productive work environment, student and staff safety. You know, that's a sign of our times, is that folks are always thinking about safety. So we take that very seriously. Communication and transparency and accountability. That final area, I felt like, was the area where folks said, let's get our house clearly in order to support the work, to push the resources as directly as possible to classrooms to support our students. So, so those are the areas that have emerged as a collective set of goals.
This has been Connor Oster reporting for The Lions Roar.